I'm gonna have to cut that out. I can't have you saying the first 10 seconds of a podcast, my man.
Hey, man, you say that a lot. I didn't know we was already recording.
I don't. Man, that's not cool. Scott,
you said it like 2 episodes ago.
Scott, welcome to the show. No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
What episode?
I don't remember.
Scott, I don't use that word. Can we start this fucking thing?
Yeah. I don't, and you stereotyped Will.i.am too. You did. I forgot what you said. Oh, it was talking about Year of the Dragon. I need to ask Will about that. I'm like, he lives in fucking England.
He's Chinese. He's Chinese.
Yeah, but he lives in England. So
he said Chinese people know about dragons, and I said,
"Oh, he told you that? Oh, your buddy said that. Will.i.am didn't say that.
No, the Game of Thrones guy said that.
Right.
Okay, let's start. Can we start now?
So you assume that Will would know all this just because he looks Chinese.
He doesn't look Chinese. He is Chinese. Now
well,
I'm
I know,
keeping
but he
this
lives in
here.
England. That doesn't mean that he is. He might be English because he lived there. He might have been born there. Did you ever think about that? Just saying.
If you have a friend, okay, and you know they're Irish, right? And they haven't lived in Ireland in 20 years, or maybe they were never. Maybe they weren't born.
Still call them Irish?
And their parents were born there, but they weren't. And someone said, blah, 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 Irish. And you'd be like, I don't know. Let me check. I have this friend who's Irish. Let me ask them. Like, what's wrong with that? There's nothing racist about that.
No, I'm just saying it's muddy waters. At the least.
All right. Can we talk now?
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Scott, what you think about that House of the Dragon finale?
I thought it was a letdown for sure.
Well, that's the obvious take, right? We wanted war. We wanted dragons dancing. We didn't get them. But now that you've had some time to settle, what are your overall thoughts on the season?
I mean, I like House of Dragons. What's the best part about House of Dragons? The dragons. So, I mean, Damien's like
Rhaenyra being a fucking badass, saying, I'm going to take your son's head. That's pretty cool.
Right. And Damien is pretty much like the best actor on the show. Let's just be honest. And, yeah, I mean, in this season and I get dream sequences, and stuff like that. But what was like one of the worst episodes of Sopranos when he was having the dream sequence episode?
I love the test dream episode, but go ahead.
Really? Oh, yeah. Man, that was such a slow episode where he just kept seeing that horse. And I'm like, what is going on here? And like something great happened the episode before that on Sopranos. I don't remember what it was, but it was something awesome. And you're thinking, all right, we're going to see this on the next episode. But then you didn't. You saw this stupid dream.
I got to be honest. I kind of like a weird standalone episode because I just watched Fargo and people hate the 5th season of that show. And I did skip it and went back to it, or the 4th season, the one with Chris Rock. People are like, oh, skip that season. So I did. And I went back, and it is different and slower than the other seasons. But there was a really cool standalone episode called East West. Had all these Wizard of Oz vibes, and I won't say anything more than that to spoil it. But like, I kind of loved it. I kind of like a weird standalone episode.
I can't imagine skipping a season of a show and like.
Well, they don't, but they're not chronological though. Every season is like its own.
Its own thing. Okay.
Yeah, they do some fun connective tissue, if you will, like. This guy from this season is actually this guy grown up in season 4, but you can watch them all independently, and they drop a lot of movie Easter eggs in there for the real ones, right? Sometimes it's real obvious. Sometimes it's a little cuter, but have you not watched that? I would highly recommend that.
Mm-hmm. I've been meaning to, but I've never watched the movie Fargo either. So
even if you haven't watched the movie, you don't need to see it. It's first of all, you could watch the movie. It's a fun watch, but even if you haven't, it literally doesn't matter because these are all brand new characters. Like nobody from the movie is in any of these scenes, right? People really like the most recent season because it had what's his name in it? It had John Hamm in it, so people really like that one. But and that season has a weird standalone one now that I think about it, that I kind of liked. But
no, I mean, House of Dragons is good, but I mean, anything that has to do with Game of Thrones, I'm going to watch it. I do kind of think that this season was better than the first season, just because you're in the fold at this point. you know everything that's going on. You know all the characters. I've already watched the first season, over again
I
before
just
this
started
season
going back.
started.
Aren't you enjoying it more the second time?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Game of Thrones was just twice as good the second time you went through and watched it, but I mean, it was good, but yeah, the season finale, how can you call that a season finale when all they do is just leave you with a bunch of unknowns at the end, and they build up to a really awesome finale that doesn't happen. So that was the only letdown to me.
But if they blow their wad, okay, and show like, I don't know, the beginning of that battle, half that battle, then what are you going to do? Like, I mean, I don't know how the books end. Don't nobody tell me, but I have a feeling that it's a pretty big deal, whatever's going on in these battles.
I feel like it should have been like 10 episodes.
Well, that's the obvious point that we've all made. But
like even the preview, I feel like, because when you watched episode 7, they showed like a preview of what was going to be on the next episode. And I'd have to go back and watch it, but I could have sworn that they showed more in that preview than what happened in the last episode. And I was like, oh man, this next episode is going to be badass. And
well, here's
the
irony. We all think shows are too long. Like a 6-part documentary should have been 4. And here's a case where everyone's saying this was episode 8 or this was episode 9. Where was the next episode? It's funny that we all kind of are saying the same thing, because usually shit's too long. I think they did kind of put Damon on the bench for most of the season over there, seeing crazy shit, and that's kind of weird because he is like such a good actor. It's like, okay, so what are we gonna do with Matt Smith this season? I don't know. Once in a while, he's gonna wake up and have a weird dream, and then go back to being haunted, and like he didn't do much this season.
But I didn't feel that way about it. I just think
I did now that it's over. I was like, oh, he kind of didn't do anything.
A couple of the dream sequences, I just felt like all of it, when you're watching it, not knowing what happens in the final episode, you're thinking this is kind of weird, what's going on. And then when he has the final one and you realize that every single one of these dreams is what wound up him changing his mind about wanting to, spoiler alert, fight her for the crown.
It's fine. But did you agree with my take that the sword raising, let's go storm the barn together, win the high school football game was super fucking cheesy?
I was fine with it. I mean,
how dare you?
It was fine with me, but I think, any of the scenarios y'all talked about would have been good. I think in a real world scenario, like if this was a real time thing, if she would have walked in the room, I think you probably would have seen most of these people kind of like scurry into the background because they wouldn't know, should we bend now or should we?
There's a fucking dragon back. There's a dragon right there perched up above us.
Right. I feel like the room would have been a little different. But it was fine. It was fine. That was and that's another thing. Damon, you never know what he's going to do. So, it wouldn't have surprised me if he decided that he was going to go against her, but so
he's just the guy that gets shit done. You know what I mean?
Right.
And is really smart. And by bending the knee, he's showing them that that's his queen. He's like, okay, cool. Right. He's bending the knee. He's ready to go. They're going to stand and fight together. That one extra beat was just a little much. That's all. And I'm still talking about it. So look, what's that?
The Braveheart speech.
Yeah. That's like, I was just like, that's not him. That's not that character. I don't know why it sticks with me so hard, but I just kind of just really bugged me.
Maybe he felt like they needed some convincing, Matt. What's wrong with that?
Oh, I'm wearing a Spartan Beast shirt. What are you wearing?
Oh, super. You're beasting it today, bro. I'm just super about it. So one thing that bothered me is, the goofy drunkard that earns the dragon, I forget what his name is, right?
Ulf.
And I know he's playing his hand because he knows that the queen needs him because the dragon has accepted him. But the way he's just sitting at their dinner table and acting cocky like that, I don't believe for a minute that the dumbest fool would do that in front of a queen. So I think that was poorly written.
Yeah, and again, I don't know the books, and I think they could have made the point and him been like he was a 10, he could have been a 7 on the disrespect level, right?
Right.
He was more like an 11 on the, like he could have
Yeah,
done
yeah,
it, and then maybe when she said you need to act appropriately or act like a knight, and he says best act like a knight, then at that point, two of the guards just like Dragon
Mhm.
Rider or not, like act
Yeah.
right, like get it together.
Yeah, that was pretty disrespectful. And I
But
feel like, and another thing where when Cole was caught, and he had the sword to him, I felt like if that would have been a real thing, he probably would have died right there.
his brother Gawain would have killed him. Why?
Yes.
For sniffing a napkin?
Well, I mean, if that's proof that, he was breaking the rules of a knight, which I'm sure most of them did, I mean, I feel like he would have been brought to court, or maybe not he would have killed him, but if that's a real situation, I feel like there would have been more
Was
justice
that what it was
for
like
him.
for you when you were a knight in King's Landing and then you met Leanne Blizzy and you were like, I will throw it all away for this woman.
Exactly.
I'm ready.
You hit it right there, man. Hit the nail on the head right there.
I just thought I'd bring people back to the real world. I'm going to get a coffee refill. What do you think about that?
All right. I'll get
Check
a drink
that. Check
too.
off your bingo card.
I'll get a drink too.
Okay.
Well, first, do you watch Mayor of Kingston?
I love that fucking show.
They did a good season finale.
I can't remember what happened.
What?
Hang on, let me-
It was the same. It came on the same time that House of Dragons did.
Wait a minute. No, I finished that like a year ago.
Then you got a whole nother season to watch, buddy.
What? Hang on a second. Don't say anything.
I won't.
Mayor of Kingstown.
Because it comes on the same time that House of Dragons does on Sundays.
Premiered on June 2nd, 2024. Fuck. What channel?
What is that? Is that Max or Paramount? I can't remember.
Paramount. Fuck. All right, don't say anything.
Dude.
We seen it.
Dude, that was the season finale to watch.
Okay, don't say
House of
nothing.
Dragons.
Don't say nothing else, because my wife and I love that show.
House of Dragons was what you should have waited to watch and watched.
I don't have Paramount Plus. I think we go last week. I talked about. We tried to delete all of our channels to like save money, and now we've already got them all back. But my one grief about that show was like we spent a lot of time in the car with that guy, and I thought that was a weird, like he's on a lot of calls driving someplace, and I thought, is this because they had like shooting problems or like in those other seats? You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of he's in the car on the way somewhere. A lot of scenes of that.
He's like a businessman for these, this jail and for
no,
all
I know.
These crooks.
It's just
he's always on the move, man.
I know. It just seems like a weird. That's one thing I definitely notice is like, okay, they shoot a lot of these scenes. All right, so hold on that.
Yeah, man, you got to watch that. That season finale was amazing.
All right, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
It made up for the House of Dragons letdown.
Okay. What about DPW?
That was good. We went to the theater and watched it. We enjoyed it a lot. That was the best Deadpool yet. And I'll rewatch the other two just to make sure.
Okay.
All the cameos made it great. It was very entertaining. How he was poking fun at 20th Century Fox or 21st Century Fox. That was amazing.
Yeah, so I went with my boys, and we always, since they were little, I'm like, is there an 11 a.m. showing that no one's going to be at? I can get the theater to myself, like all that. And for this one, I thought this is going to be like a fun romp. This is going to be a lot of laughs. I think maybe I'd like to go to a more crowded movie. So I almost went to a night one, but then I was like, we'll go to like the nooner. It'll probably be full. It's the second weekend, not the first weekend. Noonski. On the second weekend, and the crowd, it was a third fill. It was still pretty empty, and there were only like I think 3 audible laughs from the audience, and I can't remember what they were. I laughed a few times, but there were a couple times that like I laughed, and I'm the only one. Like I'm like
that was me.
I
That was
mean,
me.
it's like me watching TV with my wife, and like I said, I kind of felt like this could have been a fun experience to have because I think that is a thing. I just haven't had it in many years because I'm older and don't like going to movies at night. But yeah, it was everything you thought it would be. Like we're just caught up in a lot of jokes and a fun little mission, and those two guys going at each other. So yeah, it was what it was. I thought the post credits thing was pretty sweet. I found myself a little emotional watching it. It's like I don't even have that strong of a relationship to those characters, but it's like the way of saying like, hey, we know these movies get shit on a lot, but here's a lot of really good people that worked on these movies over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And kind of cool to see those first X-Men. I forgot what's his name. Captain America was in the first Fantastic Four. I didn't even remember that, like until they showed the credit. Like I didn't know in the movie that's the joke they were making.
Oh man. Dang,
I mean, I got that it was a funny reveal that he wasn't being the captain, but I didn't know. I just thought, oh, well, we're in a weird void and anybody could be anybody in here.
Oh, see, yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh man, he's back from the Fantastic Four. That was funny.
So I thought that was really sweet, the little post-credit thing.
Yep. So we went that Saturday after it came out. And I was thinking, man, this movie theater is going to be packed. But there's a movie theater, it's like 45 minutes that has those nice electric reclining seats. And you can go on like Fandango and reserve your seats. And so when I looked at it, there wasn't but like 2 other seats in the theater, booked. So we reserved our 2 seats and we got there and I was expecting it to pack out. There was like 14 people in there. But granted, this theater was like 16 screens and they had this movie playing on 4 screens and like it started every 30 minutes. There was another one starting. So that was awesome.
Yeah. So I only do that. We go to AMC. I use the app on my phone, and I've never not picked my seat in who knows how many years now. I've never. People laugh to think like used to just. Sometimes you wouldn't even look. So first of all, I used to look in the paper to see what was playing. Not even movie phone yet, and sometimes you wouldn't even
call the phone number.
And sometimes you wouldn't even do the paper. You would literally just drive to the theater. It'd be like 7:30, and be like, "Let's see what's playing." Be like, "Okay,"
and look at the marquee or look at the poster cases.
This is sold out. Do you want to wait for the 10 o'clock? And then you'd stood there in line, maybe played a few video games. I mean, time was very different.
Combat too.
Time was very different back then, my friend.
Fun fact, I used to work at the movie theater when I was 16 and 17.
Which theater?
It was a Carmike 6-screen theater. It is now closed. It closed a few years ago here in Tiffany.
What era? What was coming out at that time?
Oh, the Scream movies. I think I was there during Titanic. And I was like one of the only employees. There was only a few employees that worked there that were out of high school. And so I had to come and work like the matinee shift every day because that movie was out like during the end of the school year. And they started doing matinees like a week before school year went out. So I made a lot of bank, but we hated that movie being there. There were people coming and watching that movie like 8 times. And it was like the longest movie they held in the theater before they got rid of it. And we hated it. Everybody wanted it to go away because we had to stay late and we had to get there earlier because it was like 3.5 hours. Let's see. I was there for Escape from LA. Yeah. Banger. Godzilla.
That's your buddy. That's your buddy Snake.
Yeah. We were there for that redo of Romeo and Juliet.
You know who knows about Year of the Snake?
Yeah. Us. We do.
No, Will Chung.
Does he? And he knows about Hour of the Dragon too, right? It's 9 a.m. Did you message him? See if he did?
I haven't. Do you know when the Hour of the Eel is?
The eel?
Mm-hmm.
I do not. I do not know the hours. What is the witching hour that they used to always talk about for World's Toughest? What is that? 1, 2?
Well, if I was going to say the witching hour at an ultra, I'm going with between 2 and 5 because you don't fucking know where you are. It's like darkest before it's light. That's what I would call the witching hour.
Right.
Or in the NFL, they call it when there's like an hour left, like they at 3:00 and then at 6:00, where wins becomes losses and losses become wins.
That's cool. Yeah, but for anybody out there listening, if you got kids, send them to the movie theater to get a job. It's a fun job. I mean, you seriously only work like maybe 30 or 45 minutes, and then you joke around do popcorn and drink refills, and then the next movie starts, you sell tickets, and it was a fun job as a young, paid decent, all the free popcorn and soda you want, all the free movies. And if the manager's cool, like on Thursday nights, they have to preview the movies before they go out. Well, I don't know now, because this was back when you had to like connect all the film together and you had to watch the whole movie before it played. I don't even
Made
know
sure
if
it worked.
they do that anymore. And so we would all, just as employees, hang out on Thursday nights and watch the new movies late before anybody else. It was a cool job as a kid.
When I lived in LA, I got to go to a couple of screenings of like knowing people, of like previews or whatever. And I remember, I can't even think what movie it was. Oh God, what were those movies? Oh my God. So think late 90s, early 2000s, like kind of vampire. It was like not
Twilight?
Not the Twilights, no, the adult versions of these movies. Where I think it's either a comic or a graphic novel, and there was a couple of them. It was like a girl who was like a badass.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I think it was one of those movies. Anyway,
because wasn't there werewolves in it too?
Maybe it was one of those movies. But I remember they were like, this was like early technology of like, hey, when the lights go out, we're going to use these green fucking lights. If you're recording, like you will be fucked. Do not record anything, because you were at a special preview of the listeners are yelling it right now. It's my favorite part about podcasting. It's getting a text in a month that's like,
because the lead, she was pretty popular at the time. What was that movie?
Type it in.
Oh. Well, I don't know the name of the movie, and I don't know the name of the actor.
Just type in vampires, 90s, 2000s. Bop, bop, boo.
Yeah, because it had the werewolves in it too.
Hey, Siri.
Mm-hmm.
What's that movie with werewolves and vaginas?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
Look it up. Come on, look it up.
I'm trying. Vampire movies, 90s and 2000. Underworld.
Okay, but what was the next one? I feel like this was a sequel. Was there a sequel? Go look at the sequel.
Was a sequel.
I think it was the sequel that we went to see.
Let me see. Underworld Evolution.
What year is the first one? What year is the first? I can tell you which was
2003, 2006, and 2009. I didn't even know there was
it had to be the
one.
three. It had to be the 2003 version. Underworld. Good call. Good call, my friend. Hey, you need to accept this collab I made for you, buddy.
Was that?
Hop on your phone. We need to get likes.
All right.
Like and subscribe. Hop on there and
like and subscribe.
Hop in there and accept.
Exception granted.
Oh God. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. This motherfucker.
What is it? Something lurks, is he?
I fucking put this fucking watch on the fucking eBay. It was like it was a thing for my kid that he never used that we just sat around for a year. So I put it on eBay, said $50. He bought it for 25. It's like We've never used it. I don't know anything about it. He asked me questions after he buys it. I go back and say, look at the fucking description. I said, I don't know anything about it. Motherfucker, just send it fucking back and wants a refund. Dude, it's $25. Fucking give me a fucking break. I'm not dealing with it. I'll just give him the money back. I'm not going to fucking ever see that thing again.
So I tried to sell something on eBay not too long ago, and it's been like forever since I've sold anything on there. And this was after, you know how now they take taxes out of stuff you sell on eBay. So you don't receive money through PayPal. You can still buy stuff with PayPal. You don't receive it through there. You have to receive it through your checking account. I use Bank of America, and I give Bank of America privileges to accept eBay to do this, and eBay says they cannot use my bank account. I was on the phone with them 2 different times trying to make it work, and I finally just got frustrated and said, screw it. I don't sell enough stuff on eBay to worry about $30 that's in limbo.
Well, eBay had it for a minute, man. They were crushing it. You wanted to sell something, eBay, right? But then Amazon got so good, right, that it's just like, what do I need anything for, right? So eBay, you can't even put anything like bid anymore. You just put buy it now and hope they buy it. And that's what I do now. I just stick them on eBay, right? Like I get shoes to test out. Sometimes I wear them a couple times. I'm like, all right, well, I'm probably not going to wear these anymore. Put them on there. They sell, they don't sell. I have a post office down the street. The fact that you can print the label right on your phone, like everything's easy now. It used to be you'd have to fucking print the fucking label, tape it on there. Now you literally just show up with this. They scan it, and it can take the money right from the account since you don't get the money right away. And then it's just like, okay, cool. I maybe profited $18 and I got this fucking thing out of my house.
Right. What about Craigslist? Craigslist is what's dead now.
Oh, it's been beat. Craigslist is like, Craigslist was creepy 20 years ago. Now it's like only creepy.
Facebook Marketplace pretty much destroyed Craigslist, I feel.
Correct.
Who would have thought Marketplace would have got that big? Because when Marketplace started, it was trash.
Right. I'm sure you've seen everybody's posted that like same joke of like, I'm standing out here risking my life because my wife sold the fucking $7 blender on Facebook Marketplace. So you're just standing out there meeting a stranger. Hey man, I've sold 2 cars on there though. Like when I had my shitty van and I wanted to get rid of it, it's like, hey, meet me up the street, go for a test drive. Cool. Give me some cash. Bye. Like that's that. Otherwise you get no money from a dealer. You know what I mean? So I sold like a couple $1,000 cars that way. Pray they don't come back to you after it dies in a week.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're paying nothing for a car, if you're paying $1,000, what are you laughing at? If you're paying $1,000 for a car, then you're going to get what you're going to get.
Right. Yeah.
I
sold it wasn't a Suzuki Samurai, but you remember the Suzuki Samurais, right?
Of course.
So it was the year right before a Suzuki Samurai, and it was called an SJ 410, I think is what it was called. So it had a different looking grill on it, but it was pretty much a Suzuki.
My friend had one. Where didn't they start to flip over and people were freaking out?
Yes, I had several of them. I used to would buy them cheap and kind of just fix them up and then sell them on eBay and make money off of them.
Oh, look at you, Scott, fucking entrepreneur.
Yeah, but we found this SJ 410, which, like I said, and it was sitting on this guy's farm, and we got it back running, me and a buddy, and we were going to flip it and make some money on it. And this was like literally the last one we did because we lost money on it. And I figured it would sell good on eBay because it was rare, because it had this different grill on it.
Did you put rare in the title?
Well, I mean, it was obvious it was rare because it wasn't a Samurai.
I know, that's always like, they all say the same thing. Every post is like rare.
Well, it was rare because it had a different grill. It had like a slotted grill on it that resembled a Jeep. And this young kid he had one, and he drove all the way from North Carolina and was going to drive it back to North Carolina. And it would go like top speed with the wind, like 50 miles an hour. Because, I mean, it had like a 1.0 4-cylinder in it. And he made it like 5 miles from my house, and a rod went through the block. I think he paid like $800 or $600 for it, because we only paid like $500 for it.
Did he call you mad?
he called me and just told me what was happening. He's like, I still want it, but I was just going to let you know that this happened. I said, man, I feel bad. Come back here and I gave him like $300 back. So I just kind of lost a little bit of money and half-ass broke even, really.
So what was the average? Like, could you buy them for one and flip it for two, or what was the?
Yeah,
what was the
I bought, because now they kind of have like a antique value for them too. But this was like back in early 2000s when I was doing this, and you could find one just sitting in somebody's yard because it had this bushing, because most of them were manual, and they had this bushing on the shifter where when this bushing went bad, the shifter would go all the way forward and hit the dashboard. It was a $30 fix, but most people thought the transmission shot, you know?
I'm just going to say real quick, if somebody fast forwarded to just that portion of the podcast, they'd be like, that Matt does a perfect impression of that fucking guy. If they just happen to turn to the part, like, hey man, the fucking bushing on that transmission, we had a fucking 30-06 off that, because you know rednecks always talk about cars and guns and stuff. Like, that was amazing. That was music to my ears to hear you talking about the bushing the fucking quadraphenic fucking pushing up the fucking.
At least I don't sound as bad as Brian Beal. But
Brian.
So I bought most of them. You could get twice your money back.
Hey, this week on the podcast, we're gonna have Brian Beal. He's done pretty good. Rebel Trucker on Instagram. That's my impression of what's her name doing an impression of you.
Oh, Marianne.
Hey, this week on the podcast, we got Brian Beal. He's done pretty good.
Hey, it's hard to be this country, all right?
You nail it. Hey, do you know that Marianne's husband, the 70-year-old white Tommy Davidson, is going to be my DecaFit fucking partner? We're going to go to World Champs, man.
Awesome. He ran open with us in Asheville last weekend. We had a good time.
I was going to ask you about that. I saw you
fit, dude.
He's fitter than fucking me. Dude, do you know I just got my fucking heart looked at again?
Oh, what happened?
You didn't hear me talk about it where I fell over a few weeks ago?
A little bit, but you didn't go into details. Somebody break your heart?
Spartan's broken my heart every time. I fucking fell over after this. I was doing these weighted lunges in the backyard, right? I did this like Deca/High Rocks workout. I go run up the street, come back. So it's like 500 meters. And I did wall balls. Then I did it, run down the street, come back and did.
What'd you do with balls?
Wall balls. Did sit-ups maybe. Did the sit-ups maybe. And then I put the thing on my back and I fucking and I was like, like grunting through these lunges and fucking fell over. And like my heart, like was like, I was like, I'm going to die. I was in the house and laying there and it wouldn't pass. So made an appointment and there's like, well, there might be something there. Or it might be a smudge on the camera. So you got to do this other test. So went to go do the other test. That was the day the fucking computer shut down. So finally, 2 months later, yesterday, I go. And
did you get a heart echo done?
I got a PET scan.
Shit.
So there's this thing called, is it called My Result? You see results right away, but the doctor hasn't even looked at them yet. It's like, hey, you can look at them. But my chart, you can look at it, but the doctor hasn't. So I take that, I type it in Chat GPT. Okay.
What's wrong with me?
What the fuck's wrong with me? And I had it say like, what,
am I dying?
Describe this to me as if I am a child. And it does. It's fucking amazing. You want to hear this?
Sure.
It's breaking news. Imagine your lungs are like two balloons inside your chest, and doctors sometimes take special pictures to check how healthy they are. In this case, they found a tiny bump about the size of a small pea in one part of your left lung. This bump is called a nodule. Now, they're saying that if there are older pictures of your lungs, they'd like to compare them to see if the bump has been there and if it's changed. If the bump hasn't grown or is the same as before, then everything is probably okay, and you don't need to worry much, especially if you're not likely to get lung cancer. But if you have a higher chance of getting lung cancer, they suggest taking another picture in a year to make sure the bump hasn't grown. The rest of your chest around look normal, which is good news. They just want to keep an eye on that little bump to make sure it stays harmless. That's how they described where it says there's a 5 millimeter left lobe. The image mediastinum and upper magnum are unremarkable.
Matt's got a goiter in his lung.
So that's just the one. That's not even the fucking other part. That was the lung thing. There's other thing about my heart, and I still can't tell what's wrong with me or not. But ChatGPT will. So now I still want to hear from the fucking doctor. So let's hope I don't have lung cancer.
Yeah, I doubt that. So what sucks is if what that says is correct, now you have to wait a year to see if it changes. And so you're going to worry about it for a year, right?
Well, I'm not worried until I talk to the guy. I'm not worried, but I am worried about the other thing, because when they said it looks like from this picture blocking your left ventricle that you've got a small thing in there, and
that's what she said.
It could be a smudge on the camera, which is hilarious, or it could be something to worry about. And it's like, if it's not that, then why did I fall over? Because when I think back on some of my other recent workouts that I went really hard, I got a different version of that. Like this version, I actually fell over. When I did Deca Strong a Deca Mile a month before, I stopped for 10 minutes in the middle of that workout. And I just thought, I'm tired. But I think it's all related. So I don't fucking know what's wrong with me, Scott. I hope to find out. Because I haven't worked out since.
Things where all the stars aligned, and you were dehydrated, you were pushing hard. I mean, you know how like when you're outside, it's really hot, and you just crouch down and stand up too fast. You're like, whoa, you know.
Right. And the doctor said all those things, right? We don't know, and that's why we have to get these tests. But I'm telling you, this was very specific. Like this was like a fucking elephant standing on my chest. And again, it makes sense that those other workouts, I was so beat up, and it was just like, am I this out of shape? So anyway, that's what's happening. And the nodes thing was a whole nother thing that I didn't even know they were looking at. I just thought they were looking at my heart. But I feel weird that I read that. Should I edit that out? Tell people my whole medical history?
I don't think there was anything in there crazy. I wouldn't worry about it. Well, I told you about what happened to me a couple of years ago. I get up in the middle of the night, and it's a straight shot from my side of the bed to the bathroom. And I go to use the bathroom, and I just wake up. I fall down on the floor right in front of the bed. I get up and just think, well, I tripped over myself and was half awake. I go and use the bathroom, and I kind of just feel this cold chill come over me. And it's a straight shot walk right back to my bedroom. And I remember thinking, I hope I'm not getting sick. And about the time I get to the end of my bed, I mean, it was lights out. I wasn't like, oh man, I feel like I'm going to faint. It was lights out, like flick of a switch. The next thing I know, I feel my nose hitting my nightstand. It breaks my nose. Like I get whiplash from it, because I'm on all fours. My nose is bleeding on the floor, and like my shoulders are hurting like hell. And I'm like, why are my shoulders hurting like hell? And it wasn't my shoulders. It was the top of my neck from the whiplash of my neck going back so far. It still isn't. My neck still hurts from that.
When was this?
Like 2 years ago. It was almost 2 years exactly, because I remember Palmerton was my first race back after that. And I was super worried that, well, it's almost been 3 years. And I was super worried that I've got like this heart issue, and it might happen, you know, I don't want to faint in the middle of a trail run, you know what I mean? And I went and had an echocardiogram done, and I went to a cardiologist, and the cardiologist looks at this echocardiogram. It's like, well, it looks like they measured it in the wrong place. But for like a couple of weeks before I saw him, it was like you had a enlarged left ventricle and a dilated atrium or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, great, you know, I've got a heart problem. But, you know, they did an EKG there, and the doctor, he goes over everything with me and says, man, you got the heart of a 20-year-old. And I don't tell people that because I don't want them to fall out, you know, a week later. And I told him that, but He's like, I think it was just a really shitty condition and I ran 10 miles that morning and didn't hydrate well. And so I just think he said it was probably just a shitty way that the stars aligned, and I hadn't had any problems since.
Yeah, I have been afraid to work out since then. I wouldn't even run because he said, yeah, don't run until we do these other tests. And now all this time has passed. And so I finally started going for a couple of slow jogs.
Yeah.
And Stacy, we all have on iPhone, we all have like where the kids are and where we are. And she's like literally watching it to make sure I'm
Live
moving.
360.
It's just Apple. It's just,
right.
Just called, what is it called? My iPhone. Just find my. And it's good. It's really good because like our daughter goes out at night and she's honest. She tells us what she's doing, but it's like if we wake up in the morning and see like, all right, she's still at her friend's house, like cool, like that's cool. Or it's like, scary. Oh, she made it back home. She's in the bedroom.
It's scary though because I mean, here you are. I mean, this is the shit that was going on in my head. I mean, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when this happens, and I'm like, well, I'm okay. There's no sense in getting up and going to the ER right now. And so I'm laying there in bed trying to go back to sleep. But this whole time, I can't sleep, of course. I'm thinking, is this the point in my life where everything's about to change because I have some medical condition? Like, I may never be able to exercise or race again because I might have a heart condition or something going on with me that prevents me from doing that. So that's like the scariest thing about, any kind of medical condition like that. And I know there's a lot of people out there that suffer from worse things than what we're talking about here, but it's just when, you've got your routine and you do everything, your life is going good and everything happens. And all of a sudden something happens and it just rocks and changes your whole world. And that's a scary thought.
Yeah. I've had low level anxiety for several weeks. Like once in a while, I'll just be talking to Stacy and I'll realize kind of how overwhelming it is. But here's the thing. Morning, Jackson. When I got that first look, when I first went to see the guy, and I liked my doctor right away, by the way, the guy, I forget his name, but it's always good to really like your doctor. And I was like, okay, this guy's good. He's shooting me straight. He's like, okay, so talk about history of heart disease in your family. And I go, oh, well, my dad had a quadruple bypass at 60. And all of his dad and all of his brothers died at age 50. Now, my dad told me that story 100 times, but never had it sort of entered my brain because when you're 20 or 30, you don't just think about that, even 40. But then it was like, oh shit, like I've already lived longer than like all these. Now, obviously medicine's changed and whatever. And I forgot, but like, as I was telling the doctor this, like, oh yeah, I remember getting the phone call when I was 20 years old and my dad got a quadruple bypass. But at the time I wasn't worried at all. I was like, oh, my dad's fucking ox. My dad's a bulldog. He'll be fine. And he was, and he lived to be 89 and I probably will too, but he had a stent put in and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I don't want to be afraid to work out. I mean, remember, I'm not a guy that's a fucking like, I don't go to 10 most of the time anyway. You know what I'm saying? I like to slow jog the last 10 years. That's what I've been doing. You know what I mean? Just having some fun, occasional 10K, occasionally beating Gary, right? Can't beat Gary no more.
Gary's got fast.
Well, Gary's also dropped like all this weight. I mean, I told you, that's when I realized how fast you were. Cause I was like, I'm probably about fit as Scott. And you beat me by 10 minutes. Like it wasn't even close. And but then I beat Gary by 3 minutes in the fucking half marathon. Let's go.
Dude, me and Gary just joked around, ran that sprint together in Jacksonville in an open wave. Like he was running fast.
No,
like, I could barely keep up with him.
He's put some work in. He was in track in high school. Like we joked about that. Like Gary's low key an athlete.
Yeah, I like Gary. He's cool, dude.
He's awesome. Gary's the man.
They should put him in charge of Spartan, make him CEO.
I've been saying he should be in charge of a lot of things, but maybe not CEO, but a lot of things. Somebody, if you're listening to this, please message Gary because Gary definitely does not listen to my podcast. What was I saying? Anyway, so yeah, I want to be able to work out, and it's 95 fucking degrees here every day. So I'm afraid. I'm like, I'm not going for a run in 95. I'm going to drop dead again. So I'm waiting for it to cool down. All right, let's talk about Spartan Race. I brought you on to talk about Spartan Race. You are the last remaining super honk that I like.
So there's a lot of honks out there. You just don't like them, huh?
Well, I joke. I know there's many honks out there. Our buddy Corey's still out there doing the good work. Corey, I know you're listening. Shout out Corey. But basically, most people left are just
one of these days. I'm going to get Corey to do an interview with me, but he's chicken shit. So
I got Corey on for a few minutes in Alula. I think I put the mic in his hand.
Matt, and Mike did at Obstacle Running Adventures too.
Drinking fucking Coke at fucking 10 in the morning on a Saturday.
It's caffeine free. I've already had like 3 cups of coffee.
You know when they pour the Coke in the fucking car engine and it eats it? That's not the caffeine that eats the engine, bro.
I don't care. I like it.
You know what this dude just told me? Max Fennel, who I just had on the podcast, and then he showed the floaty thing. Right. He said when they would swim, if you do like a triathlon, you're in some gross lake, when you get out, the first thing they do is they give you a Coke because it'll kill any fucking bacteria in your fucking body.
See, that's what I'm doing. I'm detoxing.
Now listen, I love good Coke in the middle of an ultra, right? Some sugar.
So what's he saying? It kills your gut bacteria or whatever?
It kills whatever it touches is what I'm saying. It's like just kill whatever you swallowed. You're not gonna get hepatitis or fucking.
Do you think that's just Coke or do you think that's all sodas?
Well, we think Coke is the worst, right? And so it's like, well, I'll get a Sprite. But like, why do you think Sprite's so fucking sweet? It's basically just sugar, right?
Well, this is Coke Zero, so.
But I'm just saying, like, all soda, all soda's bad is the point.
LaCroix, you think LaCroix is okay?
I drink a lot of LaCroix. I don't think there's anything wrong with LaCroix.
LaCroix tastes like static and somebody screaming a flavor at you.
Come here, I'll tell you what River thinks it tastes like. Hey, River. Yeah. What does LaCroix taste like?
It tastes like TV static.
It tastes like TV static.
That's what I just said.
He said that to me once, and I was like, "That's kind of genius."
I think I heard that somewhere. But somebody was describing, man, what is that seltzer that everybody drinks? White Claw.
Right.
They said it tasted like static and somebody screaming a flavor at you.
Right. Oh, hey, speaking of, where's my daughter? There she is. Hey, Smush. Hey, is one of your friends here? Okay.
Great nickname.
We call each other Smush. I don't know where that came from. Where did that come from, honey? Yeah, she's got a friend here, so I can't walk around with my shirt off or anything. I don't want to be an embarrassment.
Yeah. Don't be that dad.
No, I'm very if there's friends over, I'm very self-conscious about that stuff. I didn't mean that when I said that. What I'm saying is you're very opinionated, you're not afraid to say how you feel. You still like the product itself, you still like the races, you like the community. And that's why you're a good guy to talk to, and you're fun, and we joke about a lot of stuff. But I wanted to talk specifically. Do you know the differences? We did a whole video on the season pass. You made it, and then I made the fun edits. That was a hoot.
Yeah.
Is it more expensive this year? Is it less expensive? What's the scenario?
So I think the biggest issue, and it was a typo, and I guess we just jumped to a conclusion. I mean, that was so Spartan, because they said that the Ultra Pass was the only pass that had the multi-lap discount, and the regular pass did not. And that was a typo. Both passes both have the multi-lap discount.
Which means what? What does that mean?
They did not. So the multi-lap discount is, let's say you buy your race ahead of time, like usual, and you finish your race, whether it's a sprint or a super, and you decide, hey, that was a fun course. I want to go do it again in open, or if you want to run 2 open waves, or you want to do a competitive in the morning and then go back out and run the same sprint again as an open wave, you go to the race day registration tent and you pay for another race. If you have a season pass, it's like 14, 15, 16 bucks. And that includes your insurance and you get another time and chip, another shirt, another medal, and you go out there and you run the race again. So that's a big deal to a lot of people that like to practice and just do multiple laps. And some people like, even though that doesn't count towards your trifecta count, it still counts as, just people saying, yeah, I ran 5 sprints in one day, and some people do that. And like they like to do it like a challenge. So that's a cool thing to the honks,
So if you don't have that, then what happens? If you don't have
you have to pay full price for that race. Or
Okay.
whatever the race day registration price is. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not.
Any season pass gets you can race again for $15.
Yes. And it's one of those things where you have to do it at the race day registration tent. You cannot pay for that online, which it's smart to do that anyway, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm the type of person where I have the season pass. I mean, some people will go ahead and pay for their races all year out. And I'm thinking, if you got a season pass, why are you doing that? I mean, you can wait until like 2 weeks before the race and go and pay for your race. Unless it's something like a race that typically sells out, but I haven't seen a race sell out in a long time where you're just like, hey, there's no more, you can't get in. So
yeah, we haven't had that. I think, although there was a race recently that they were like, "Ooh, we just added some more."
Right. It says we're sold out. We just added 100 spots. But yeah, the season passes. So I've kind of got this printed out. Ooh, my computer's getting hot. So it looks like, I talked about this on my podcast too, but I got these screenshots here. So when we made this post last year, after the initial $100 early bird pricing last year, you could get a season pass. The regular season pass after fees cost $911. This year, before fees, it's $942. So what is that? Might as well just say it's gone up at least $100. So inflation, but no.
But I feel like they were higher. They came back down when the demand was lower and they needed more sales, and now they're starting to climb back up. Is that true?
Well, if you go buy a 2024 pass right now, it's higher than a 2025 pass costs. And that makes no sense because the year's more than half over. But, you still get all the same perks, Canada races, all the ultras are included in the ultra pass, which is the main difference. You get Spartan Plus. The Spartan Plus tents, they think they have a schedule for where all the Spartan Plus events are going to be at. Typically, they are only at trifecta weekend races. I believe they have one in Palmerton, which they've done that the past couple of years. But it's only at trifecta weekends.
So this is before COVID. This is the 2020 season pass. $799 open, $999 age group. Trifecta $349. How does that compare to today?
So back then, your ultras were included with both of those passes. So that's the major difference between those and today. And the age group pass was $999. So the pass today is $1,300.
I mean, you'd think I'd have an article about this every year because I'm a fucking media company, but
yeah, but think of it this way: those passes did not include Canada races, and you did not get the ORWC, race for free either.
OCR. Okay, here's 2021 season pass.
Sorry.
Okay, you looking at this now? Can you see this?
Yes.
No, sorry. I opened a new window.
Oh, all I see is 2020.
Hang on now.
But it's kind of a different pass, because
now
last year was the
says
first year of the
2021 trifecta 349, AG 999, Elite 1199.
See,
how does that compare?
I mean, honestly, that's a good comparison right there, because the $9.99 is what you'll pay for a regular pass before fees now.
Is how much?
And so your open pass was $7.99. The regular pass this year is $9.42 before fees, and you can run competitive waves, which so you can run competitive and open. So, and then you get the $100 merch credit, and you get all the season pass gear stuff too, which I'm pretty sure we got that year as well. But none of these passes right here included Canada races or OCRWC. If you're one of those people that
include trail, interesting.
No, trail isn't included with none of
which
the passes,
they should,
except
because
for the
it's like
Unbreakable pass.
It should, I think, because it's just a way to get people to run that race, which is like Sunday morning anyway. Like, I think that's dumb.
Well, Brian enjoys running the trail races. I've only run that one in Jacksonville we did. I mean, because that was all that was available during COVID.
Is there even a website to buy it? Where do I buy it?
I think they have their own little website for Spartan Trail.
No, the season pass. I'm finding the Zendesk, but where is the actual page?
The page for 2025. I think it was only open for early bird. I don't think you can. If there's a link for it now, I can't find it, and I deleted the email about it because I haven't bought mine
you
yet.
You need to use.
But people were freaking out about it, and I'm thinking, yeah, it went up a little bit, but this is still the most affordable way to run as many OCRs as possible in a year. You can't beat it.
Is he trolling me?
Who? I'm still seeing a page here.
Sorry, I just happened to click on the Instagram post. The Bubbles said, what are these cities next to these people's names? It says Lauren Longfield, Colorado Springs, Cassandra, Alexandria, Virginia. Oh, they're wrong. Yeah, it says Fort Worth, Texas, Kelly Sullivan. These are fucking wrong. God damn it.
I don't think Lauren lives in Colorado, but
I think she does, but I don't think Kelly lives in fucking whatever. Hang on a second.
I thought all those people lived kind of in the Northeast, but I don't know.
Oh boy.
I'm not as stalky as you are.
Well, this is why AI will never take over. This is why AI will never 100% take over, because it doesn't know everything.
Right. I don't use AI for anything hardly.
Oh, I see what it did.
Oh man, I did make some epic. I was bored at work and it was Michael's birthday, and I made all these epic AI photos where Jabba the Hutt was saying happy birthday and in a picture, and it was like everybody was having these parties in Jabba's palace. It was pretty cool.
Hang on 1 second.
I should have saved all those pictures. If we're good friends, I typically will send you a personalized birthday card every year.
Those cities were wrong. I see what it did now. It took the 2 letters next to their name and like made it the state they were from. I don't know what the fuck they did that for, but I'm fixing it now.
Way to go.
Hopefully. Sometimes it doesn't let me fix it on the phone or on the computer.
That's what happens when you half-ass make a post, brother.
No, I didn't. Wasn't half-ass. I was paying attention, brother. I fixed it. Okay. So congratulations, but that's not right either. God damn it. Hang on. Oh my God. Hang on.
So there's these Instagram reels, and it's kind of like, you've always got these things between bikers. You got people that ride sport bikes, and then you got people that ride Harleys, and there's a lot of people that ride the sport bikes. They'll video these guys riding up on their Harleys, and you'll hear them say, brother, when they come up. It's pretty fun.
Okay. That's not right. She's not. This is fucked up, dude. This is being a bitch.
Why don't you just delete the part where it says where they're from?
No, I did that, but now it's got the order completely wrong too. Now it's just got the whole thing is wrong. Hang on.
You want me to fix it?
It won't let you.
If we're collabed on it, it will, won't it? Can I
edit? You still can't edit it.
No, you're right. I can't.
Lauren, Cassandra, Kara. That's who's 1, 2, 3, correct?
Yeah, now it says Cassandra, Kara, and Adrian.
Right.
But wasn't Lauren first?
Lauren's first. Kelly Sullivan has been bumped to 6th. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but I'm going to fix it now.
Yeah. You need me to pull up results, or have you already done that?
No, I'm on the results page. Sorry, listeners, you're dealing with. Should I be like my friend Ian K? Sorry, listeners, but you're gonna have to look at. I don't know if you listen to him, but that's what he sounds like.
I think we've been on here a couple of times with him.
You know, he talks like that.
Yeah,
he says, you know, you just might say, "Hey guys," or "Hey folks." He always says, "Listener, if you're looking for the," he refers to them as listener. Yeah. He gives them the proper name as listener. All right, so here's your results: Lauren Longfield, Cassandra Gill, Kara. But you know who I have third? Adrian Doherty. So what the fuck? This picture is now wrong. Uh-oh.
Maybe maybe you posted the results too soon, Matt, and there was an upset.
There was an upset because I forgot that they don't do that no more.
Yep.
This is now wrong. So this
false
picture
news, fake news. That's what.
But here's the good news. Here's the good news. The times on the right are correct. It just means Adrian's not in this. Kara Vanderwoort is not in this photo, but she still finished actually third. Let me message our buddy though, Joe. Hey Joe, it looks like Kara finished faster than Adrian. Oh well, just send me a new picture later on. Do you talk to text, buddy? I
do, but when somebody is doing that and I'm around, I usually will holler out dick.
Oh no, so do I. I'm like, penis. What's going on with your penis? No,
I did that to Leanne one time when she was texting her mom, and it sent it so fast she couldn't fix it.
People hate it. People hate it.
It's funny. Good times. Good times. What a time we living in with all of this technology.
Mm-hmm. You got that right, brother. You got that right, Jack.
Yeah, buy your Spartan passes, everybody. It's a good buy.
What do you think? What are you seeing out there, buddy? Like everybody's bitching online, but we see the numbers are good. You see me posting the numbers.
What are they bitching about? We had tons of fun at Asheville. They changed up some obstacles,
but I'm saying online has become just kind of the cesspool of bitching. So when you're at the races, the vibes are good.
People that I see bitching are people that I haven't seen at races in like 2 years, you know. So I mean, I get it. They had a bad time. You know, and I hate to be this guy. This is a hot take for sure. But
let me get my hot take alert out. Hot take alert.
I wish that Spartan would have never paid for top 3. Never. Never. Yes, they need to pay the people that are owed money. That needs to be done. Spartan needs to get on top of that. Absolutely. When they can. I don't know what their money problems are. Nobody does. But that's important because that's like, this is just like this dark cloud that is over the brand. It needs to be done before they buy, like a pickleball, tournament or something. So, that needs to be done. But I just think that they should have just gave away prizes for top 3 from the beginning. I just think they should have done that from the beginning.
All right. Well,
I think
I would disagree.
Would have been more pure if they would have done that. Let people race for sponsorships with brands, just kind of like they do in the ultra scene. A lot of the ultras don't pay for top 3. I just feel like it would have been better for the brand if they just never would have paid, just giving out prizes.
Well, okay. So I would disagree with you here, Scott. So Joe's idea was
or never elevated it to this big $20,000 payout. I mean,
well, I think there's a I'm dealing with these timing thing yesterday. What do you call it? What's his name? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I didn't even see Carrot today. So Book of OCRs is up right now on YouTube. Patreons can hear it on Patreon only, although by the time you hear this, it might be up for podcast. But we talked about going back in the day. So back in the day, Joe's idea was, what's out there is a bunch of mud runs. You got Tough Mudder, you got Warrior Dash. Like, that's fun, but we want to build a sport, right? And we're going to call it Spartan racing. And I was always telling him, no, you don't. You want to build obstacle racing and Spartan be the best at it. You don't want to build, but he was always, Spartan racing in the Olympics, blah, blah, blah. And the way you grow a sport is you get on TV, you hype up athletes, you make a thing, right? And I would say that an example of who's doing that right now is High Rocks. High Rocks has a whole pro scene, but they also know that's not the whole thing. So their main focus is putting on really good events in all these countries, and they're so far doing both. They'll do things that piss off the elites, and they will say, you guys are 1% or 0.5% of our sales, so chill the fuck out. But, which is true, and there is that idea of, if I can be like Hobie, if I can be like Ryan Atkins, if I can be like Meg Jacoby, Lauren Weeks, Hunter, like this, that's what I think attracts a lot of the age group types. And then those age group types, as you know, are the best quote unquote ambassadors. They're always talking about it. They're posting, their friends ask them. So that's the trickle down that it's supposed to be, Scott, but it doesn't always work.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
I mean,
I know you don't give a fuck about you want to be like Ryan, or that's not why you go, but you see what I'm saying? It gives people an aspiration. You see what I'm saying?
I just felt like personalities were created because Spartan paid elites and paid elites well, like probably more than they should have been.
Early on, yes.
Yes. And I mean, or maybe not. I'm just saying that.
Well, there were a few people that got, like Killian got a lot, Amelia got a lot. I think Hunter got a lot. Faye Standing knew how to get a good contract. She got a lot. There's some people that made some good money for a couple years.
But I don't think any of those people started doing this for the money.
Right.
I think it created that when they left. Because you hear about all these great people and we're all like, well, we want to see these competitions, but they don't pay enough for them to be here. And I'm thinking, well, in the beginning, they were here because they enjoyed the sport and they enjoyed the competition. It wasn't about the money.
But weren't
so
you
I just
saying...
feel like that since there was money there, maybe it would have been better if the money was never there. So the people would be here because they like the competition, they like the camaraderie and just running the races, and it not be about, being about earning that championship and not about earning that money that comes with it. And I know that's a hot take. And I mean, and on the fence, I mean, I kind of don't know if I agree with myself when I'm saying that. I just know that, you've got these big ultra races and these famous people that run all these ultras, and they make their money off of sponsorships, not from race winnings. And you had these people and even the elites here.
Because the ultra people figured out a way to get eyeballs on it, even though watching somebody run 100 miles, you can't really watch it. They still figured out a way. Courtney DeWalter is like super famous and a lot of sponsorships and there are a lot of folks that don't make money though.
And I would still say that and it's not their fault. It's the brand's fault, because this is, as long as we've been doing this, it's still a niche sport. And it's not a sport where it's going to pull in a bunch of sponsorship money. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, and that may never change, but I just felt like, you know, the payouts, the big payouts, kind of took away some of the purity of what the sport is. Because I feel like a lot of the top tier people that come to do the sport, they didn't do it because of the money. They did it because they enjoyed it. And then they signed these contracts that said, hey, you have to be at all of these races or so many of these races. And then they were like, well, I'm tired of doing this. Because like people that are serious about a sport and they want to just win the championship, they're not going to go run a Charlotte sprint weekend, you know, or whatever, you know, they're not going to do 20 races a year. They're only going to do the 4 championship races. You see what I'm saying? But if they're on this contract where they have to go do all these and have to go do all these, or they're not going to get paid. And I'm just thinking that maybe the pay is what muddied the water on that. Like maybe have a championship races for like maybe like best out of 5 and those pay. And, you know, and that's kind of what they're doing now. But I just think that all of this money that they paid and and I mean, we've all said it before, Spartan probably should have never sponsored their own athletes.
Yeah, well, that's where they fumbled the bag.
And I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say here, you know, more than that. And then having payouts at every weekend, maybe that was great.
That's like, a lot of money down the drain, giving away 500, 300, 200 for 5 years at every race.
And I still
but that's not why they went broke, by the way. That's not why they were doing that just fine.
Not.
They were paying. Hang on, let me grab it. I got to fill my coffee again. I'm sorry. You can talk about your podcast. Hang on.
But yeah.
Oh, hang on. Have you seen this? Have you seen this impression? Hang on.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you know who that is an impression of?
Eamon, I assume. I heard about you talking about it.
I know, but like, how does he get his chin to stick out like that?
Or it could have been like, he's just got a weird face.
Doesn't it freak you out a little bit? That way his chin sticks out?
That somebody's different? No, Matt, that doesn't freak me out that somebody's different. What the fuck is wrong with you? People are different. Are we all supposed to be the same? Are we all supposed to look the same? What's going on?
I like having you on because you don't look the same. You know what you did though? You did a pretty major deal that not many people know about. I want to break some news.
What was that?
Well, you cut your hair, and there is a live GIF that exists on Giphy and Instagram. That is the Scott meme emoji thingy, right?
But he doesn't have long hair. It's just shaved really close to the skin on the sides.
It's basically Scott, and
I use it a lot too.
You use it all the time, and I love it. I can't find it. You say to type in the words rock. I feel they fucked up Giphy a lot.
It's leather jacket. You type in leather jacket, leather jacket rock.
So my friend I
use all of those guys. There's like 3 guys that, you know, that wear leather jackets, and they'll always throw up, you know, devil horns, you know, with a hand. And I just think they're cool. It's a cool gift. So I use it a lot.
Well, my buddy
Jeff
knew how to do it in the early days of Giphy. He put himself in, and so he put in every emotion, and they were all really good. And I'd love it. I'd see it and I'd send it to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's been used 1 billion times." Like it would tell you how many times it's been used. And he made 2 for me. He made an Atlanta podcast. He made Matt B. Davis. Like it was me on a microphone, but they and those are all gone. So the only way I can see him is if once in a while, you know how like it'll be like you look at an old message from someone and it'll have a story from that day from 2022. So anyway, they're all gone. Very sad. There used to be Matt B. Davis gifts.
I know it's like they rotate them out every so often.
No, I think they cleared the fucking palette. They did something. Well, sponsors are trying to sneak their shit in there. And do you remember when Snapchat first came out and you could make like a cool location one? Like I hired this girl to make one for Asheville Spartan, and it was like
I've never
super
used
cool.
Snapchat, so I don't know nothing about it. I know that's what all the kids are using these days.
So Justin Rose just sent me my original photo. We talked about going up to OCRWC the first year. Do you know? Look at everybody in this photo. So you got
2014.
You got Richard E. Stepp. You got Justin Rose. You got Peter McNary. You got me. You got who's the
Where
fucking
are you
redhead?
at in that picture?
I'm in the middle with that beard, like leaning my head in.
Oh God, you look young.
I'm next to Peter.
I see it now.
And then you got Jared in the back, and who's the redheaded guy?
You don't have any gray hair in that picture.
God damn, I was young. I was young and virile. Did you go to Oregonia? Did you ever do Mud Guts and Glory or Battle Frog at that arena?
I never did a Battle Frog. It was still around. I started in 2015, but dude, man, I didn't have a lot of money when I started doing this, so I was volunteering a lot of races, and I was kind of,
because now
all
you're
in the
rich.
Spartan.
Now you're pretty much rich.
I wouldn't say I'm rich, but
Can you afford
better-
the kind of toys that your buddy Michael gets?
absolutely fucking not.
That fucking guy, dude.
He has got
Let
an
me show-
addictive personality.
We show a picture of this fucking life-size replica of Darth Vader. Cost $18,500. I got it at auction.
Man, his whole living room is like a Star Wars like museum. He's addicted. He's obsessed, man. He's obsessed. I think he ended up getting an insurance policy on all his Star Wars collectibles, but he's got like a bunch of collectibles, dude. And he's got stuff in storage. Like he's renting a storage place to put some of the stuff into.
What's up, bud? Is he in cold storage?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. You mean carbonite? You mean frozen in carbonite? Is that what you're talking about, Matt? It's not a good impression of Han Solo and carbonite. If that's what you're
Well, you do it then. Fucking you do it. Oh, that's right. It's more like he's
He had his
screaming.
hands out. You look like a vampire in a coffin.
Are you pro or against Last Jedi?
It was okay. I mean, you could. It was Disney, man. What can you say?
Well, I did want to get his take on Acolyte. Do you know how he feels on Acolyte? Apparently, people fucking hate it.
Dude, if you don't know, like if all you did was watch the movies and stuff, you'd probably think Acolyte was all right. But it just goes against a lot of old Star Wars stories. And so, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, to me, it was probably the lightsaber stuff is great. The action is great, but the story is just okay. But I mean, it's Star Wars. I'm going to watch it. So
yeah, but
and
there some?
You were talking about the chick that plays Danny. What else has she been in? She was in the Solo movie. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I don't. Solo was not good.
Solo was great. What are you talking about?
I remember Solo not being great.
Woody Harrelson was in it.
I loved Rogue One, and I loved Andor, and I haven't loved anything else.
See, Andor was just okay to me. It was.
Are you kidding me?
Super slow.
Get some patience, brother.
I watched it twice. It just.
Are you kidding
he's in
me?
this prison, and I'm like, there's nobody in here but humans. There's no other alien races in here. How is this Star Wars-ish?
Oh, dude, I thought Andor was such a fresh, original fucking story. I was in love with Andor. I can't wait for more Andor.
I mean, it's okay. I get it. They're telling this other story, and it was just there was a lot of stuff that it was. The prison part was just what kind of threw me off.
But again, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that. Like 3 episodes in, you're like, "Oh shit, we're now in a prison show. Like this is a different show now." Right. I kind of like that about it.
It wasn't your typical Star Wars show for sure.
Did you feel so? People felt the problem with Acolyte and a lot of this new Disney Plus Star Wars stuff is that it's like overly wokey. Do you find that to be the case?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, people were saying like, "There's no white guys in it," but
no, not like just that there's no white guys.
Later, there was. So
no, not that there's no white guys, but that basically changing all these rules and being like, this woman was born of like 2 virgin women, and the Force is actually not even the thing that Force is supposed to be, and just like making up all this shit. And they were saying it was too wokey.
Well, if you're familiar with the Night Sisters, and there was a bunch of different witch covens, and I don't know all the history about it. So, I mean, this might have been their version of what they called the Force. So I can't say that, but I think, and what a lot of people didn't like about the writing is because this is how Anakin, it wasn't a sexual birth. He was just all of a sudden there like Jesus. And now they're doing that again. And whether this was done with spells or whatever, a lot of people didn't like that. But I mean, I don't care, man. It's make believe, so people.
Yeah, but you can't change you can't change somebody's make believe and say all this shit we told you for 20 years. Actually, it doesn't mean anything.
Here's what made me mad. And we saw this coming. We saw that Darth Plagueis was going to show up towards the end. And yeah, that guy that was creeping around in the cave, that was Darth Plagueis. And I think he's the one that, like, he's the Emperor's Sith apprentice, I think, at one time, and the Emperor ends up killing him. But you know how when they find out about Darth Maul, they say there's only two, a master and apprentice, right? And then you got that guy that kind of looks like he's on Coneheads. He's on the Jedi Council in those movies. Calundi, I think is his name. So it shows him in the Acolyte, which means that he would be over 300 years old. And I think they changed like the Star Wars timeline to where he was still alive during this. So more or less, he could not see any of this take place if he's there, because he says there hasn't been any Sith in over 500 or 800 years. And this was only 100 years before that. So it's just like they're breaking the rules, man. But I mean, if you don't know any of that stuff, I mean, the show was okay. I think that, I think the younger kids will probably really appreciate it, but just when you know a little bit more about, and I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and Michael explained a lot of it to me, but and just how like she starts this one little fire with like a book, and next thing you know, it's like a thermal reactor blows up the whole place, and
what is that place? And what is that place made out of?
Stone mostly and metal. So
okay.
But everything's on fire.
Right. Are stone and metal things that burn easily?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, this place was.
It's not made of wood.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, that was kind of like.
Hang on.
Hang
on 1 second, man. Hang on 1 second.
Where are you going now?
I still need more coffee.
Jeez. Matt's going to get his third cup of coffee, and while he's gone, I'm going to do my best dog impression. If you want to check out a good podcast, go and listen to I'm a Spartan podcast. And so on my podcast, my podcast has a host who has ran more Spartan races than any other podcast out there. I do believe. I have almost 200 races this year, and I don't think there is another hosted podcast where they've ran that many races. And probably 100 of those races are probably competitive races, maybe more. So there you go. And when me and Michael and Brian are doing a recap episode, you have a lot of competitive experience there. No, we weren't like winning the series or whatever, but we have ran more competitive races than most other podcasts. So you have all that experience when you listen to us. That's okay. I gave your listeners a good dog impression.
A dog impression? Dog the Bounty Hunter?
No. I'm surprised he's still alive.
Is he?
I think so.
Hey Siri, is Dog the Bounty Hunter still alive?
Yes, Dwayne Dog Chapman is still alive.
How old is he?
This is from Distractify.com.
Hey Siri, I changed Siri's voice lately. Hey Siri, how old is Dwayne Dog Chapman?
I didn't
Dwayne Chapman is 71 years old.
71, still kicking. Beth died a couple years ago. He got married again. Very
Already?
sad. Very sad about old Beth. The bounty hunter. No use in hiding in the bog.
With their paintball guns filled with pepper spray.
I hunt you down because I'm the dog.
Man, you watch that show way too much, bro.
I'm the dog. The big bad dog. The bounty hunter. There's a channel on my TV that's just dog. And so we would watch that every time we'd like turn the TV on before you put on Netflix or YouTube. That would be on. Now, currently it's Ice Road Truckers. So now I'm watching a lot of Ice Road Truckers. Like, cause like it'll come on and you'll just kind of start peeking. We had it on a 21 Jump Street channel like a year ago. That was fun. Went through a few of those. Those are hilarious. Do you have any of that in your TV? I don't know if it's Roku or Samsung or one of those like regular TV channels.
I don't watch it. But
oh my God.
I'm sure it's on there. Ice Road Truckers, dude. No, I'm not watching that. I don't watch a lot of, what do you call it? Reality TV.
Well, I mean, dude, I don't fucking watch the Kardashians, but that shit's good, man. Dog the Bounty Hunter and Ice Road Truckers. In the early 2010s, that shit was on all the time, and so it's what I watched.
But
now they're showing it again.
One. I mean, I used to watch, what was the crab fishing stuff? I used to watch that. Deadliest Catch,
yeah.
I used to watch that, but after you watched a couple of seasons of that, what happens?
They're all kind of the same, yeah.
They're all kind of the same. I mean,
right. But I think that's sort of the point,
like that,
right? But I think that's sort of the point, right? Like somebody was talking about this the other day about how
in the cooking shows, I have no desire to watch it.
Yeah, we were in a Top Chef for a minute a few years ago, but I'm not in any of those either. But the thing with shows, like, you know, like basically it's like comfort food, like you know what's going to happen. Yeah. So like Law and Order, right? Like it's always the same basic thing. They go to the first guy, it's not him. They go to the second guy, it's not him. They go to the third guy. Oh shit, it actually is the second guy. You know what I mean? It's all mostly the same thing over
Criminal Intent was a little bit different. I watched some of that, but way back in the day.
Right.
Private Pile was on it.
I know, right? My girlfriend used to call it, we used to watch him. My girlfriend used to call him the Indicator because like his acting was always indicating, like if he's like, he'd get in your face and be weird and like, the Indicator. So that's always what I think to call him. He outgrew Private Pile.
Daredevil series, man.
I never saw Daredevil.
Oh gosh,
what did you think about old Elektra showing up and Blade showing up?
That was cool, man. Like, dude, I didn't expect that, and I didn't either. As soon as I saw Blade, I was like, "Yep, he was that's a Marvel comic."
That one got a reaction from me because I didn't know, like I hadn't seen anything. I didn't know that was coming. Yep. So that was a genuine like, oh, like I did that. And I'm not even like a big Blade fan, but it was just so random. But that's a guy who's like 70 years old and has had a lot done to his face. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, when they were talking about the Punisher and he said, well, which one? Because, you know, there's been, 4 different Punishers.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that.
Because, you know, that old movie back in the early 80s, Dolph Lundgren played the Punisher. Did you ever watch that one?
No.
It was cheesy.
Right. Well, that's what the 80s were. The 80s were cheesy. But no, poor Blade, he made a joke. That was one of the ones that made me laugh out loud, is how like he never got his Blade 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or did he not even get a 2? Was there only
one?
He
had, I think there was 3 Blade movies. There was
3 Blade movies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Blade.
One of them had a cool Cypress Hill song on it.
Blade movie.
Because the
wait a minute, there's a 2025
really
one.
Good.
Hang on, there's a 2025 one coming.
Yeah. I heard there was one in the works.
Okay, who do you think they're going to get?
I don't know. I would assume Wesley Snipes is going to be in it again. I don't see why he couldn't.
Because he's fucking 80 years old.
Is he?
Hey Siri, how old is Wesley Snipes?
I bet he's late 60s.
Wesley Snipes is 62 years old.
Ooh.
They are casting this dude who's 50, who's been in a ton of stuff. Let me find him.
Have you seen the guy that's playing, or seen the preview for the new Crow movie?
So this is the guy, by the way.
Oh, I've seen movies with him in it.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali. He's in a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Never like the main role, but he's been like in a bunch of stuff.
Well, now he's getting his shot, man.
Yeah.
So can you explain? I've always been confused because The Crow, like the guy died, and then they made a sequel, and the guy died again, or his son died. Like, can you explain the whole Crow thing? Because that was when I was in high school, right?
So the original Crow, each Crow movie was a different story. It wasn't the same character. They just all kind of happened to get the stuff across their eyes in some weird way. You know?
Is it a Marvel? Is it a comic? Is it a graphic novel or something?
It was a comic. I can't remember if it was Marvel or not, to be honest. I didn't read it. That was one I didn't read. I just watched the movie and I thought it was great. But yeah, each one of those had it was a different story. Like the second one, his son died. The first one, it was his girlfriend that died. And
No, but the actor died. Like there was some horrible tragedy. That's what I'm saying.
Brandon Lee.
Is he Bruce Lee's kid?
Yeah.
Died.
Yeah, it was something to do with a blank or something in a gun come out. It wasn't like they left a bullet in a gun. It was something to do with the blank or something in the gun or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
Okay.
They said that movie was cursed. I mean, just all kind of bad stuff. The crew tried to walk off and it wasn't done safely because there was rumor that Jason Momoa was going to play that. And then I guess he changed his mind because the first one, was kind of cursed, what they said.
On March 31st, 1993, at EUE Screen Gem Studios in Wilmington, North Carolina, Lee was filming a scene where his character, Eric, is shot after witnessing the beating and rape of his fiancée. Actor Michael Massey's character fires a .44 Magnum as he walks into the room. Blah, blah, blah. So he was accidentally killed.
Right.
And then his stunt double they used digital face replacement to finish the movie.
Right.
Okay.
I think they said the actor that was holding the prop gun that shot him, I think they said he never watched the movie. He didn't want to relive that moment.
On April 1st, 2022, Bill Skarsgård was set to star as Draven. On September 16th, the film wrapped. It's scheduled to release theatrically August 23rd, 2024. That's in 2 weeks as of this writing. But I feel like there was another Crow in between there.
Yeah, you had Crow, City of Angels, and then you had a Crow movie that come out that I don't think it went to the theater, and it was okay. But I worked at the movie theater when City of Angels come out.
City of Angels is 96.
That was one that had Iggy Pop in it.
Nice.
But the first one was the City of Angels wasn't that great. It really wasn't. It was kind of silly, really. But the first one it was a good movie. I wouldn't say if you go back and watch it now, it really holds up. It was kind of cheesy, but it was.
So what's the premise of The Crow, by the way?
So they say like a crow takes your soul when you die, and sometimes, it doesn't. And then you get to, because your story isn't finished or something like that. And then you're invincible and your power's in the crow. And if somebody figures out, they'll kill this crow that kind of always is hanging around you. And that's how you die, is if somebody kills this crow that has your soul. Somehow they always figure that out.
This film stars Bill Skarsgård as Eric, the murdered musician who is resurrected to avenge the deaths of himself and his fiancée, played by FKA Twigs. Talila Deborah Barnhart, known professionally as FKA Twigs. I'm learning so much about the youth of today. Do you know who this woman is?
We're the youth of today. Do what?
Is that what she sings?
No, that's an old punk rock band.
I have no fucking clue. Should we play her song?
Are you talking? Is this from the new one?
Yeah, the new one, bro.
Yeah. So that that guy that's playing the Crow, he was in Deadpool 2, and he was that guy that could spit like the toxic vomit. That's the same dude. And he was. Oh man, what was that? He was in that Hemlock series. That was really, really weird.
All right, we're gonna share this.
It's probably some pop rock music, right?
Let's see.
Really? First up, we've got Shake.
Sounds like one of the commercials for your podcast episodes. Called it. Pop music.
Boo.
I can dance just.
Have we talked about Dune, buddy?
I haven't watched the second part yet. I feel like I'd have to go back and watch all of the first part because I don't know. I forgot it.
It's 2 really long movies, but I did like them.
Yeah, I want to say I like the first one, and the first one actually made me go back and watch the original one because I'd never watched the original.
84.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't go back and watch it. I think I'd seen it, but I didn't want to go back and watch it.
That was pretty rough to watch it.
Em, are you out of my room now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stinglehoffer's in it.
Yeah, good for him.
All right, let's wrap it up, Scott. T. Fayne.
Yeah.
Good talking to you. Good catching up.
Yeah, man. Seemed like there was something else I wanted to tell you, but I forgot.
I can wait. I'm not doing nothing.
I probably forgot when you went up to make coffee one of the 10 times we were on this interview.
Listen, when I wake up, I typically have probably 3 cups before I leave the house, and you wanted to get on right away, and so you got me in the middle of my 3rd cup.
I usually drink 2 in the morning, and then I'll drink 2 at break in the afternoon.
I will go drive to Dunk's, usually between 1 and 3, depending on how the day goes, to get that afternoon iced.
Iced. I don't drink iced coffee. That's not good.
You're
putting stuff in your coffee, or do you drink it black?
Oat milk.
Why do you
little sugar? Oat milk and little. River, you know that song?
Like man, just drink it black.
River, come sing Ice Ice Baby with me.
No.
Come say hi to Scott at least. Come say hi, Scott the Fayne Knowles. Scott the Fayne. Have I asked you what the Fayne is?
It's my middle name.
Okay. The Fayne?
Just Fayne.
Do you know what my middle name is?
Yes, I do.
Have I told you before?
I was in the Discord. I've been not a Discord, the Patreon when you revealed it. I've been a Patreon member that long.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm not as concerned as I used to be with it. I'm kind of free with it.
Right.
It used to be a big mystery, right? What's the B stand for?
Because you're rich now, right?
It's because I'm rich. How would you define rich? Does rich mean every first of the month you get an email that the mortgage is due and you go, oh, fuck, the mortgage is due again? Is that rich? Because that's what I am.
Would be paying help. You know, like,
I'll
never do my yard work again. That I would feel
but
like
I think
that would be pretty well off.
But some people get pleasure from that. So you might be rich and still get in there and tinker in the yard.
If you got somebody cleaning your house, you got somebody picking up your kids from school because you're busy, you know,
or you don't really love your kids.
If you got a nanny, your wife probably stays at home, or the husband stays at home, or you don't even work in general. You know, you got multiple houses. You're probably rich.
Well, under those qualifications, I am none of those.
Me neither. I'm going to be working till I'm 70 probably.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot too.
And like, the stuff I have to do now, and I think about doing it when I'm like 60s and I'm older and I can't get around.
But here's the good news for you, Scott.
When I'm older.
But here's the good news for you. You do get a paycheck, correct?
Right.
So there has been money put away for you.
Oh, yeah.
That is available. I've worked for myself
I got
all
retirement
these years.
and Social Security.
Yeah, I do not have those things. So luckily, hopefully, even when I'm old, I can still hold the microphone and talk because that's basically what I do, right?
Yeah,
and post stuff.
All the money you'll make off of your YouTube stuff in the future. I mean, it's going to pay in dividends for sure.
I hope so. I really hope so. You know, people seem to love when I post that video. This is how you get over a wall. People fucking are like, thank you so much. I'm doing my first race. Didn't think I could do it. And now I can. I'm like,
I kind of made one of those about how to do the Z-wall with the ropes on it when we were in Asheville. Because I'm hurt right now. I can't run competitive. So I'm just doing open waves. So I wish I had somebody to do West Virginia with me and we could kind of just go through all the obstacles and video them. I think that would be cool. But
okay. Are you rich? If you're rich and you pay me, I'll come do them with you.
No.
You don't have to pay me. Just get me up there. Just buy my flight.
I'm driving. Why am I going
Okay.
to pay for you to fly?
All right, then just pay for my. Can I sleep next to you?
You
In
can
the
ride
bed?
with me, and you can ride with me and Michael and sleep on the couch. We have an extra couch.
I don't know if I want to be with Michael that many hours. Do I?
It's rough. Like me and Michael are best friends, but after a weekend, I'm like, all right, it's time for us to go our separate ways.
All right, especially he'll be farting the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, he's my best friend, but he'll tell you, I'll tell you, he's a dick, and he can start to get on your nerves. I'm just blessed that he quit drinking, and he's been sober, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, I guess, maybe. And man, I've only seen him like really drunk one time. Oh man, he's bad. But yeah, he's my best friend. I'd give him a kidney if he needed it.
Wow, that is a best friend.
Yeah.
All right, man. Maybe I'll take you up on going to WV.
Yeah.
All right, man. Be good.
Peace.
Peace out, brother.